18 minutes now to 9 o'clock. It is Hot Breakfast.
The Cape's Big Wake Up, 6 to 9 a.m.
Right, it's Women's Month. We had Women's Day just the other day, and part and parcel, I think, of what we do, and we do it so spectacularly badly, is we focus a lot of attention on one day, and then it all sort of diminishes, and it all dwindles into nothingness. And what we've undertaken to do is to have a series of conversations that all run for the full month. It's Women's Month, and not just Women's Day. And that line of thinking has led us this morning live on the radio and also live on Facebook, right into the home of one Ingrid Jones, who needs very little by way of introduction. She is a television host. She is a business owner. She is an educator. She is a mentor. And she's now also a guest on Hot Breakfast. Morning, lady.
Môre Aiden, good morning. Hoe gaan dit?
Ek het rede om te kla, man, ek gaan nie.
Ek is mos 'n psychiatrist ook, so jy kan maar sê.
Nee, ons kan nie nou oor die dinge praat nie. Ons kan nie nou vinnig oor die dinge praat nie, dame. Listen, let's very quickly delve into this notion of Women's Month very quickly. Firstly, what does it mean to you?
You know, very little and also a lot. I'm 50-50 this year. For many years, I was like, oh my God, this is so boring. Can we just stop it? They're not doing anything different. And this year I thought, let me change tact. Let me focus on individuals as opposed to talking into the ether, and then it can either fall, that spray and pray thing. It doesn't work. So for me, for this particular year, once I got over my anger of the government, en ek wil nou nie ook 'n psychiatrist kry by hulle nie. And the nothingness that they do, other than appearing once a year, and this year they are using the pandemic as an excuse to not have done anything. They could have used the pandemic to do way more. So if I turn my attention to individuals and into individual women, and I look at what they are doing, I also have to turn the attention on myself. What is it that I am doing over and above being moanful and gutful and all of those things? And I've decided if I can shift the needle from my side, and then maybe I can be a catalyst or, an incubator for other women to start doing the same. Because we naturally think that we have to start doing charity work. When this month or this day comes around, and we knit blankets, and there's nothing wrong with it. We hand out sandwiches and all of that. There's nothing wrong with it. Go do it, boo. But there are bigger issues to be solved, like gender-based violence and all the big issues that you guys address quite a lot on your station. So if I can throw my weight in and with those kinds of people who really want to move the needle, then I think we're going to tell the government to sod off, and we can literally do this ourselves.
All right. I was issued a challenge a while ago. Somebody was saying, Aiden, what do you do? And that was a personal challenge to me, asking what I do to mentor girl children. And it was specifically around the girl child. I said, I'm involved in all sorts of projects, but it was like, no, man, but what are you doing for girl children? And I've not even thought around empowering or upskilling a girl child, but that's almost the problem, isn't it? We don't think about how we're able to impact. We all point fingers and we say these are the shortcomings and this should happen. We have networks and we have resources and we can help others, right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. We've got platforms that we can use to. I mean, do you know of a thing more powerful than a radio station, for example, that can reach into the nooks and crannies of literally everywhere? And I think we underestimate the power of radio. We're so glued to screens that we forget that the people used to have those PM9 batteries. I don't know if you remember that you plug your radio into. and you could carry it with you wherever you go. You're not dependent on ESCOM. You're not dependent on anyone. You literally can take the radio anywhere. So
Mhm.
yes, Aiden, I think your platform. I think when it's Women's Month, we think we have to do this ourselves. Yes, we have to drive this because we know what the issues are that impact us the most. But a question like that for you, for example, what did you say?
I was caught with a big full tanner. I
Uh,
said no. I've not even thought of anything
yeah.
like that. And I'm now trying to put something together where I can perhaps play a mentorship role, or I'm able to lead girl children to suitable mentors in our industry.
I think you've got it right, because I work with two groups of people. One group is just women in the one group, and in the other group there are supposed to be women, and then three or four men came along. You know how it shifted the conversation in the room, because now, because of the dynamics in the room, women started not saying what they wanted to say. So I'm just wanting to say to you and caution, when you do step into the mentoring of girls, just remember that the conversation is going to be very, very different,
Mm.
because they do respond to males in a very different kind of way. So it's one thing to mentor them, and I'm happy to hear that you are saying that you are going to connect them to people who are, I'm not saying more able, but to whom they can relate a little bit more. And it is a fact that the dynamics in the room changes when both genders are in the room. So if you want to hear from girls exactly what it is that they want change, not necessarily what the problems in their lives are, because we ask that of them all the time, and I think we are very aware of what it is, um, then one can shift the needle. uh, yeah, so just for that thing, we have to connect people with the correct mentors. And we think, mentors sit in lofty offices and have fancy titles. It is not that, indeed. You look at a woman like Lucinda Evans, for example. Yeah, on what that woman has done is like awe-inspiring. I look at that building that they have erected. She doesn't take bullshit from anyone. She just like literally
You shouldn't.
kicks down the doors and do it. And that's the kind of thing I think that we should invest in.
All right. I know part of your plan is to go back to teaching. You started life out as a school teacher. Your journey has taken you everywhere, into business, publishing, onto TV, and so on. And you're saying, listen, when I'm done with that, when I've had my fun, I want to go back into a classroom, and I want to invest. I want to work with kids. I mean, that's almost a very humbling approach to hear somebody of your ilk saying, that's where I want to invest what's left of my energy going forward.
Because you know what, Aiden? Teaching used to be that job where what did they say? It's a calling, there's a roeping.
Mm.
And nowadays, I don't know if it's the same. Teachers complain about hoe onbeskof is die kinders en die and all of that. They have to compete with a small screen and all of that. I believe that it is the most important department in government, and it is the most important pillar of society. So if you cannot get it right at school level, of course, kids come from homes with their own little agendas from how they were raised and all that kind of thing. But when you have the opportunity to shape minds and to change the way that we see the world, what an extraordinary job that is. And I'm not 60 yet, so that's next year. But
Mm.
if there's any school, I would ideally would like to go back to my hometown. But if there's any school who would want me, and I don't want to go to like a fancy schmancy school. I want to go to a school where it's really, really needed. I'm your girl.
I love it. Now tell me quickly, what are you busy with? I mean, the last time you were stuck in Betty's Bay, if I'm not too mistaken, or Kleinmond, which was
Jana
there. It
nogal
was
stuck.
difficult. There was a lot going on in your life and so on. What's happening in the life of Mrs. Jones at the moment?
Also taught me to tap into some of my other stuff. Example, ek maak nou jasse, Aiden. Ek
Amazing.
het nou besluit ek kan 'n entrepreneur ook wees in daai opsig. So
Huh?
I started something called the Obsession Store. Ne? So everything
Huh?
I'm obsessed with, I'm going to put in that store. I don't have to always make it myself. I can outsource. I can empower small female-owned businesses, and I will curate all of these things, and then I will sell it. But mostly at the moment, I'm into coat selling. Are you interested? I'm going to do a mail line too. Shame, man.
Yeah, no, we need to.
I'm interested, please.
Can you hear Julian there?
I can't hear Julian.
Unfortunately, you can't hear him. He's very definitely interested. He's on our other connection. He's very definitely interested. He says he wants a jacket. Now, what is it called?
The jacket? My
Ah,
my
Jones
current
adjust.
obsession. It's called my
Who know?
current obsession.
My
My
current
current
obsession.
obsession. Yes.
Okay,
Whatever I'm obsessed with, I'm gonna
okay.
do.
Sign me up as long as I don't end up looking like Alvan Collison. Nou so baatjie is ek het jou blerrie baatjie hou.
Ik heb nou amper gezien dat ze, maar ik ga, no. I can actually see Julian in one of them and I can see you in one of them. That's for around about November. For now, I'm focusing on ladies. And you know how we started? I made I had a coat for myself. And then people always ask me, where do you buy your clothes? And then I thought for years, like, okay, why don't I just do something? And so I started. So now I am from one, I'm on to 50 coats. How about that?
All right.
Not too shabby.
I'm already looking at people on the WhatsApp line. Is the store on? In fact, on our Facebook feed, where can they get it? Is it bespoke? Do you bless, or must we buy? Must we pay?
Entrepreneurs, that thing of us, ne? Maak 'n plannetjie vir my. Ons moet ook survive. So no, Aiden, at the moment it's bespoke, like you say. I design a coat for a person based on her personality. So you get a coat. There will not be two of those. There will only be one of them. And currently, I can small entrepreneur. I'm on the 50, so I cannot take on any more orders. But once I'm done with that, I will launch it into something bigger. But for now, speel ek skooltjie.
Love it. I love it. Mrs. Jones, you are tonic for the soul. Every time I speak to you, I think the world ends up being a better place, really. With I don't know. It's
Voordat jy klaar praat, ek het gedog, dis my interview vir Tapuma's job. Because I swear to God, you must have so many entrants. And you need a strong brown girl.
Okay, that's something.
I'm just saying.
That's something. But you must now have pensionable age. Anna Yagache in a Sasa queue stand. You can't be here in the morning because you must go queue early for your Sasa money. She's not here today. She's queuing for Sasa. At Khati Veki, Mrs. Jones. At Khati Veki.
I forgot about that. Life begins at 60. I have to tell you, life begins at 60.
Yes. I wouldn't know. Anyway, listen, you must have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you so much for chatting to us. All right.
Thanks, Aiden.
Ah, man, love that lady. Love her to bits. Her name is Ingrid Jones. And wasn't she just fantastic to listen to this morning?